This is not the video that I thought I'd be working on today, but yesterday I went to the range to get some footage of the T36 right here, the G36 clone, and after that was through, ended up taking the Radian Model 1 right there in the middle, the SBR out, and went to the zeroing line, tried a couple different loads in it, and my results were extremely unexpected. So if you shoot 223 and 556, you're definitely going to want to hear the information that I have in this video because it pertains to you 100%. I wanted to try two different loads out of it. Both of them are from Australian Outback. It was this load, the 55 grain Sierra Blitzking, and then the second was a 69 grain Sierra Match King. And you know, a 69 grain, you would expect that a heavier bullet would ultimately perform better and get you better groupings, stabilize a little bit better in some of these AR barrels. Well, I was extremely surprised by the results. The rifle I took out was my Radian Model 1, in which I replaced the OEM Schillen barrel with a Proof Research 11.5 inch carbon fiber barrel. It has a 1 1/8 twist, and a 1 1/8 twist is a pretty well-rounded twist rate for most loads out there. I would expect the 69 grain bullet to perform a little bit better. However, this little 55 grain bullet got almost a 1/2 inch group. That is unbelievable. At 100 yards out of an 11.5 inch barrel, very, very close to a 1/2 inch group. And that blew my mind. So after looking a little bit more into the Sierra Blitzking round from Australian Outback just uses the Sierra projectile. They make all their own ammunition. But once I saw this performance, had to look a little bit more into it, and started looking at some ballistics gel testing. And I had actually seen the ballistics gel testing for this round, and I was pretty impressed. I'm like, you know, that's a pretty good round, and they market this as a varmint load. But then it got me thinking that testing looked almost identical to the Hornady TAP 55 grain, the TAP Urban testing that I had seen a while back. And so I pulled up those videos again, watched them side by side, and these two rounds shoot absolutely identical. Maybe not in terms of grouping, but in terms of actual performance and expansion and fragmentation, these two rounds are practically identical. Overall penetration as well. So I'm going to show you these ballistics gel tests, just little clips of them.
The bullet entered the block with over 1,000 foot-pounds of energy.
But today, let's just see how it did against the ballistics gelatin. The bare ballistics gelatin, the bullet struck here, and at the 1 inch mark started fragmenting. We see a very violent and rapid fragmentation. It lasted only about 2.5 inches out into about the 3.5 inch mark here. At that point, we can see pieces of lead, jacket, and polymer tip in a 4 inch diameter affected area of tissue, which is quite large, especially for a defensive round. You'd expect to see that with a varmint round. Now, out here at the 6 inch mark, we see a nice piece of lead fragmentation, and the final large piece of frag out here at the 6.5 inch mark.
And I want you to know that I did not do these tests. These are ones that I found on YouTube. I don't take any credit for these. But I think this might be the most underrated round on the market because everyone thinks of Hornady TAP as one of the top contenders for the best defensive round on the market. And I got this thinking that it might be able to be used for a defense round. They market it as a varmint round. But then I started thinking, okay, Australian Outback, made in Australia. What does the 2A community in America know about Australia? That they have some of the most strict gun laws in the world. Okay, so if Australian Outback were to market this round, this load, as a defense round, their government would probably see it as promoting violence. So what do? Boom, it's a varmint round. They got gophers, all kinds of stuff over there. Actually, I don't know if they have gophers over there, but I'm sure they have something of similar size. So now that I look at it and compare these two, which I never thought would actually go head and head, I always thought Hornady TAP would be probably one of the top 3 best defensive rounds on the market and available to civilians, of course. So now, after seeing this perform and get such a good group, watching those ballistics gel testing, and really just doing a little bit more research on it, and kind of using common sense to think about, okay, made in Australia, of course they're not going to have a defensive load, yes, air quotes. Honestly, I think this is a better choice than Hornady TAP. Why is that? Well, looking at the ballistics gel testing, of course, they perform exactly the same overall penetration, the same fragmentation pattern, and about the same overall velocity, and this is half the price. It's also easier to find. You may never have heard of it before, but it's out there and it's pretty easy to find. Hornady TAP has been discontinued in a lot of places. Several retailers no longer carry it, and it's very expensive if you do find it. So overall, I think this is a better choice, and I just absolutely had to tell you guys about it. One last thing that I feel is definitely worth a mention is the method in which Australian Outback packages their ammunition. So they pack them in these little 5-round blister packs. So they're airtight, sealed. I mean, you could store this stuff for centuries and it wouldn't go bad. So there's another reason why I think that the 55 grain Sierra Blitzking from Australian Outback is a better choice than the Hornady TAP round.